All right, good morning. How's everybody doing today? Who's excited about NewOps days? I like the energy, especially on this side of the crowd. But I'm not going to be that speaker that makes everybody like get all super hyped up. But I think most everyone has coffee now, so I mean that might be acceptable. My name is Josh Atwell. I'm your host and general producer of NewOps Days. Raise your hand if you know what NewOps is. Great. I'm going to teach you. I'm a senior technology advocate for Splunk. We are not here to pitch Splunk and to teach you all the things about Splunk. We're really here to teach you a lot of other things, okay? I have to do this because the lawyers tell me to. If we imply anything that any of our companies might say or do or deliver as a product, do not buy based on those statements, okay? Because they may not be committed. I may be a complete and total fibber. I'm not, but okay, here we go. Our interactive section. Show of hands, how long have you worked in IT operations? Less than 1 year? Welcome. 1 to 5 years? Glad you're still around. 5 to 10 years? It's a good sweet spot. 10 plus years? Yes. That is the one where we get the most hands raised. How many of you are about ready to retire? Not wanting to retire, like retirement is like 2 steps away. Okay. So you probably, if you've been in the industry for like 10 plus years, you remember that transition to virtualization, most of you do. And you remember that transition, the way we had to change the way we worked, the very much do more with less, things of that nature. Well, we're facing that yet again, but it's much different this time, right? Because everything that we're doing is changing. We're not just moving x86 systems over to be virtualized, but the way companies utilize technology and implement technology in order to get differentiation, capture market share, make customers happy is very, very different. Right? The way I interact with the hotel and the airlines and transportation, the way we order food, it's all changed, right? And technology is on the back end of that, and it's powering it. All right, so what we've had with core operations, right? The way that we've done operations, everybody that's raised their hand from 5+ years, you've got virtualization, you've run bare metal, right? And you've typically had larger applications. Now we have multiple platforms. Right, we're diversifying where our applications go. They're going to the cloud. We've got serverless, which we're going to hear a lot about today. We've got containerization, right? Software as a service. Our applications are being distributed to multiple platform types, not everything that we host ourselves. The way that we process and work, it used to be very siloed visibility, right? We were very ticket driven. If you needed something from the storage team, you sent a ticket. If you needed something from the network team, you didn't bother. You just... Right? It's very, any network people? Yeah. So, but we were very, very ticket driven, right? It was very reactive, not proactive. Now, though, the scale of the systems and the complexity that we have and the pace and the rate of change, we have to employ new technologies, right? We have AI and ML technologies that are being deployed in order to help us gain better visibility and insight in what's happening. Automation is maturing. Infrastructure is now extensible with APIs and like SDKs and mechanisms for being able to automate the infrastructure. We're now having to move into observability because the systems, like your CI/CD pipeline, for instance, you can't see everything that's going on. You see what goes in, you see what goes out, and being able to understand what's happening there has changed. And the implementation of these technologies to help us do our work. We used to be very accustomed to having very specialized tools. Right? If you were a network engineer, you have your networking tools, your storage engineer, your storage tools. That doesn't fundamentally change, except now there's a greater focus on creating collaboration and more opportunities for people to share the information they have and share capabilities. If you are in IT today, you have to be with a service delivery mindset, not a, I'm going to handle this ticket in this process, right? And then last but not least, with the people, right? We all started out and we developed general skills and then became specialists. How many of you would classify yourself as a specialist in your organization, right? Well, that's no longer fully acceptable because now we have new frameworks like DevOps. Sometimes people call it Lean Ops. We've got NewOps, which there's a big oops there, in my opinion, but right, there's this desire to reduce the operational burden, right? And we go from specialist to generalist. You've heard of T-shaped people, right? Where you have broad understanding and knowledge, and then you still have a specialization and discipline. So if you have a specialization, it doesn't go away with NewOps, right? But all these things together are what leads to this, right? Now, part of the reason we have to make these changes is because, and I did not doctor this. This was a straight up Google search with a screen grab, right? IT departments are useless. I was reading a book. It's called Get in the Boat. And in that, the author, whose name I never remember, sorry, he makes a statement that he interviewed over 750 leaders of companies. Many of them, not the IT leaders, but leaders of companies. Out of 750 leaders he interviewed, how many reported having a very positive view of their IT departments? Guesses. Bring them on. 3. 0 is the right answer. Not a single executive, not a single leader said they had a positive view of the IT department. And a large part of that is because the IT department, as you've heard numerous times, is kind of viewed as a cost center, but no more. We're not allowed to be that anymore. IT has to be a delivery mechanism for innovation and delivery of technologies, okay? And the sysadmins have it even worse, because not only do the leaders question their value, but so do the developers and the application owners and the vendors and everybody kind of questions, because the framework at which we worked has been very, very limited, right? We've kind of set this up on our own. That's where NewOps Days comes in, right? It's a recognition and realization that the way that we deliver IT from an operations standpoint has to fundamentally change. But that does not mean that we have to change the value that we deliver. We just have to change the way that we deliver that value, okay? And so throughout the day, we're going to have a number of speakers come up, talk about the things that they've done in their organization to adopt new technologies and new processes, new mechanisms, and new frameworks, okay? This is a community event. We do have community sponsors, Rundeck, which you'll meet out here, VictorOps, which is part of Splunk, they contribute with us, and the DevOps Institute, which isn't present today, but they are one of our founders, right, that helps get this, and they still contribute to the community at large. If you go to newopsdays.org, we post all the videos. We got them all on YouTube, so if you want to see the stuff that we did in Phoenix, in Raleigh, and in Silicon Valley, those videos are there. And we're starting to organize them based on topics. So if you're interested in security, those are there. DevOps, those are there, okay? What we want you to get out of this is information and knowledge that can empower you to be better capable of delivering value to your organization and, more importantly, the customers that you serve, okay? All right, here's a real quick recap of our agenda. You are here. I'm introducing you. I am Josh, as I mentioned. We're going to have a couple of talks. Then we'll have a little panel right before lunch. Okay, the panel's there to give us some buffer, but also to give you an opportunity to ask questions of the sponsor companies. We don't want to do vendor pitches, but sometimes you show up with questions. Also encourage you to go to the booth, okay? We'll have lunch, should be delicious. Then we'll have a couple of talks, some shorter talks, and we'll have a quick break, and we'll do our NewOps Days Forum. We'll have another talk, and we'll wrap it all up. Let me tell you what the NewOps Days Forum is. You ever do a DevOps Days event in open spaces? Some yes, some no. That's okay. This is not exactly an open space. What we're doing is at the back of the room, this is great. I get to get most of y'all to turn and look. At the back of the room, we have these big poster boards that are up on the wall, and they have a variety of topics. They are not listed alphabetically on the slide, but they are listed alphabetically on the wall. If you have a question, let's say you're wanting to know how to apply security in containers, write it on the Post-it on your table, put it on that board. If you know a lot about security, about containers, for example, or in this, like, how do I get my leadership to invest in new tools, right? Maybe that's a challenge that you have. This is one that actually happened in Raleigh. Post it on the board. If you have a potential answer to that, post it on the board. This afternoon, right after lunch sessions, we're going to get together as a group, discuss those, and then report back the things that we learned today. So you all get to contribute to the body of knowledge in NewOps and be a contributor to that. Those will go on the site, and they'll be referenceable over the summer. I'm going to do the full collection, okay? It's a lot of fun. We've condensed it to about 30 minutes so that we can be focused, get an answer out, and move on. And when we wrap up at the day, you should be able to miss some of the traffic. All right, some logistics. You are all on social media. I know you are. Don't pretend you're not. Most of you anyway. Please feel free to tweet, Instagram, all the things that you do, hashtag NewOps Days. We are at NewOps Days, particularly photos of me showing that I'm actually getting work done so that my boss knows. Please be mindful of your emergency exits. We do have folks who have other meetings that are not associated with our event. Be kind to them. You're wearing our logo thing. Bathrooms are right behind us if you haven't already seen that. We do have a code of conduct. It is listed on our website. I take the Bill and Ted approach. Just be excellent to everyone, okay? But a more detailed code of conduct, obviously no harassment of any kind. I don't want to ask you to leave, okay? It's really uncomfortable for everybody, all right? I've told you about the NewOps Forum, so if you do have questions, feel free. If you have questions throughout the sessions, ask. We have Q&A at the end of every session. Please visit our supporters tables. They've invested time, money, energy, and a lot of love into kind of growing out this community. As mentioned, I'm Josh Atwell. Damon is actually not here today, but most important, Bianca, who is handing out t-shirts, thank her for all the great work she does facilitating this event, getting this amazing venue, and what I hear is going to be an excellent lunch. Okay. All right, we're going to skip words from supporters, and we're going to jump right into our first speaker. So what I'd like for you to do is have a great day. If you have any feedback, any questions, find me, Bianca, or at registration, or basically folks wearing the NewOps Day shirt, unless you changed into one today, at which point you might get questions. It's like going to Target with a red shirt on. You don't really want to do that. All right? So Tom, you ready to roll? Awesome.